The way to get rid of tension is to do just the opposite of all the things that cause it.
Hello everyone, this is Hugo from Ichiban Painting, and today we're gonna look a little bit about paints and primers. So let's start with paints, okay? Because I do get a lot of question concerning, you know, what I use and what I like and why. So there's gonna be a little bit of a talk about the paints. So whether or not you're starting or you're already a painters for years, you know, this video is gonna be good for you guys. So basically, these are the paints that I use the most. We have Game Color from Vallejo, we have Model Air, we have some P3 paints, and here we have some washes. So just let's look at the paints first, okay? So the two main paints I use is P3 and Game Color from Vallejo. P3 is from Privateer Press, if you don't know. Let's start over with P3. What I like about P3 is that their consistency is incredibly nice. It's really nice pot, really good coverage right out of the pot, and when you mix them with you know, you dilute it a little bit. Oops. They're still really great paints. What I like the most about P3 is their metallic colors. For their metallic colors, P3 do have really small and fine pigments. So if you want to use the metallic for dry brushing and you already painted your area surrounding the area where you want to do dry brush, if you're dry brushing with the P3 formula, you're gonna have less chance of having little tiny flakes of metallic color going on the other area that you don't want to dry brush. So I really love working with P3. The only two downsides that I don't like about P3, the first one is that P3 comes in pot. I do like dropper bottles better because it's easier to put a small amount on your wet palette. You don't have to put your brush in and then after that put the brush in the palette. You know, a dropper bottle, you just turn it around, you drop it on the palette and it's done. And then if you want to mix it in your airbrush, then a dropper bottle is better. The other thing that I don't like about P3 is that their color range is for Privateer Press range and colors. So they're not a company that's trying to imitate other wargaming companies' colors. They have their own colors. So if you're trying to recreate schemes, like for example in GW or in other games platform that are not from a P3, not P3 but Privateer Press, then it might be a little bit harder to find the exact same color in P3. But it's still a really good range. So I love P3 and I would recommend them. If you don't have to copy colors, P3 is a good range. P3 also offers the biggest pot in the industry, which are, if I'm not mistaken, I forgot exactly how much paint there is in it, but the P3 have more paints than Vallejo, and then after that then Citadel. So P3 offers the more bang for their bucks, and the paints are pretty cheap. You can get a starter set, I think, that comes with 6 pot, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 6 pots for a starter set, and they're around 15 pounds, which is pretty affordable. Moving on to my favorite and my go-to choice, it's the Vallejo range. In the Vallejo range, you have main range. You have the Game Color. After that, you have the Model Air, and you have the Game Color, Model Air, and I forgot the other one. Wow, that's good. Making a video and I forgot everything. Game Color and Model Color. Yeah, sorry. So they have a really wide range of colors available for you guys to you know, play with the palette, and all their game colors are copies of GW. So if you want to copy GW paint schemes, then Vallejo is really nice. They come in dropper bottle. The pigments are really nice. They cover really well. They mix in really well. They blend in really well. If you're using their medium, Vallejo comes in with a variety of different medium and products that you can use with the paints. You know, you got paint retardant, you have crackle medium, Let me grab a couple of one just to show you. This is called metallic medium. So if you want to transform a color that you have into a metallic color, like for say the purple, then we mix those two together. I'm gonna have a metallic purple with this one. You have a crackle medium that's gonna make your paint crack. So if you want to make your paint older, you have glazing medium. You have such a wide range of things that you can add on your paints to achieve different aspects. In the game color range, they also have extra opaque paints like this one here. That's going to cover even more for you guys that are not using airbrush to do your base coats. These ones are going to offer a super nice base coat, and you know, you're going to be having an incredibly good coverage. These paints are a polyurethane acrylic, so it's kind of a little bit a different formula the way they adhere to the models, but these are specifically made to be really good when you apply them and still be really resistant to wear. So these are fantastic. I really like them. And then after that, you have the model color, the model air. The model air are specifically designed colors for airbrush. In the model air, you have two range. You have the metallic range, like this one here, and you have the normal model air range. So metallic range offers you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 8 or 9 or 10 paints that you have that will be metallic, and you can, you know, shoot metallic directly from your airbrush. If you ever airbrush, if you take a normal game color paint, a metallic one, and you thin it down and you put it in the airbrush, the pigments are so heavy and so big that it's really hard to airbrush to a smooth finish. But if you're using the model air, there's no problem. All the model air range have different consistency even though they are the same, so you do really need to try them out in your airbrush to figure out what is the good PSI to use it. For example, the white is still, it's pretty liquid, but it still is thick, so I do tend to actually mix my white with some thinner to thin it down a little bit more, because it tends to leave, you know, like small big pigments when you shoot it, so you do need to be careful with that. Then moving on to the washes, we do have here, I have some Vallejo washes and some Citadel washes. Personally, I hate the Vallejo wash. They tend to have reaction with some of the clear coats that you could use, and also with the Vallejo wash, sometimes if you they pull too much, they tend to dry out to a kind of a dusty whitish gray consistency. I don't know if it's the bad wash that I got or something like that, but I had really bad experience with the wash, so I never use those. As you can see, the bottles are brand new, so I do have a couple of them, but I never use them. My go-to wash is the Citadel wash, and actually I'm in the process of maybe getting some secret weapon washes to try them out and see if I like them, and maybe change from my Citadel wash to the secret weapon ones. But basically that's what I like. There's tons of other companies out there that offers paints like Master Reaper. There's plenty of companies out there, Coats of Arm, but these are the most widely available, and these are, in my opinion, very good. You know, there's no paints that are superior than other. I'm gonna give you an example for those of you that say, yeah, this range is better than another range. That stuff is not true. So I'll just move the paints out of the way, and I'm gonna show you two colors. Okay, so here we have the Jack Bone from P3 Formula, and we have the Bone White from a Vallejo Game Color. Okay. And if you know the same thing, the same color from GW, the GW one and the Game Color one from Vallejo tend to be really liquid. Okay, this one you can actually take it out of the pot. It's almost like a model air. You can take it out of the bottle and put it straight up in the airbrush. There's not going to be a problem. But when you're painting, this causes problem because it's too diluted sometimes. And if you want to do coverage, this is going to be really shit. And because it's, when you're working with whitish colors or creamish colors, when they're really thinned out, it's really hard to make a really even coat. Okay, but if you look at the P3 formula is wonderful for that. The consistency of the Let me see if I can grab a brush. I don't think you're gonna be able to see it from the paint, but you can see the consistency is really great and the coverage for this paint is really awesome. So this is an example that some company, you know, the range is going to be good, but some other companies have specific paints that are better than other. So for example, if I'm doing, the color is slightly a little bit different. The P3 Jackbone is a little bit, tiny bit greenish, but still the difference is going to be so minimal that you won't be able to see. But that's just an example that sometimes you can have different company that have different results, so you do need to test it out. I'm not saying go buy a shit ton of paint from all the companies, but it gives you just you know, an idea of that some companies have better paints, better colors than other, and vice versa. Now let's talk about the last thing in this video that I want to touch about, primers. Okay, let me grab it. These are the primers that I used normally. Okay, I use either, but actually my combination is a little bit different than most modelers I know. But I use Tamiya fine surface primer, this one, which is light gray. This one is wonderful. It sprays really a light coat and no problem with that. And then I use acrylic Vallejo primer for airbrush, the white one and the black one. Okay, so basically how to choose which primer to use, it depends on the color that you're gonna spray on top of it. If you are already spraying a dark color and you want it to look a little bit more darker, then black is gonna be your go-to primer. If you want a lighter color and you really want the color to pop, then a white primer is gonna be the best. And a gray primer is going to be neutral, so it won't affect your color a lot. And a lot of the time what I find myself doing is I actually prime everything with my surface primer, because the chemical composition in the primer itself is different from an acrylic primer or a spray-on primer. This primer is going to be way more resistant and is going to adhere way more better to your model. So by actually doing this primer first, and then either if I have to go black or white, then I'll do it after. So I'll have 2 coats of primer. And if I don't have to, if I want to keep it gray and I want to keep it neutral, then I'm not going to do these steps here. But I rarely start priming with these two. Not because they don't cover well. These two cover fantastically. They're really good primers. But the problem with that is that, first of all, out of the can, I don't have to clean my airbrush. It's less a pain in the butt if I want to, you know, do a quick spray. Especially if you're sending out parts of your model and you want to, you know, ensure that you did a smooth job. You don't want to prime the whole model. You just want to prime the area you've been working on. So with that, it's easy. You don't have to wash nothing. And another thing is that I realized that when I prime these with these 2 primers, sometimes if you handle the model, you drop it or something, the primer might chip. But that's something that's never gonna happen, or rarely happened, with my Tamiya fine spray primer. So basically these are the primers that I use and the way I use and the paints that I use. So if you do have questions about paints related questions and primer related question, feel free to drop in a question in the comment section, and I'll reply it as soon as I can. And basically, like, oh wow, I forgot one thing. Sorry guys, I didn't talk about it. But this is another thing I like to use. These are liquid gold from Vallejo. They are alcohol-based paints. So you do need a different set of brushes to do that. You cannot use natural hair brushes, but these have so tiny fine pigments that when you apply them on models, it looks stunning. And they have a really big range. They have gold, they have old gold, they have silver, they have copper, they have green gold, red gold, and pink gold, I think. They do have many colors that you can use for your metallics if you want to do it. So these are really nice, and you can wash them on top of it and no problem. So this is just a little preview of some of the paints that I use. So like I said, if you do have questions, drop it in the comment box. And this was Hugo from Ichiban Painting, and I'll see you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and like the video. Cheers guys.